So this question looks like it's going to be a diagram question. We're provided with this diagram here. So we see a circle there. Looks like we also have a triangle if you look at A, B, and then the center of the circle with the dotted line. 300 degrees, 170. We have the side length of this triangle is 20, and this side length is 30. So I always like to look at the diagram first, just for 10 seconds or so, just to see, what's going on, take a lay of the land, and then read after that. It just works out, typically for me, a little bit better to at least know what I'm getting into. So the question says, in the figure below, a radar screen shows two ships. Ship A, which is here, is located at a distance of 20 nautical miles, so we already identified that 20, and bearing 170 degrees. Okay, so we hadn't paid attention to that. So we have the 170 degrees here. So we'll see how valuable that is in the future. And then ship B is located at a distance of 30 nautical miles. So we also have recognized the 30 before, and bearing 300 degrees. All right, so the 300 degrees is this line or this angle here that goes all the way around, right? Almost to 360. So all the way to the line that connects the center to B. This connects the center to point B. Which of the following is an expression for the straight line distance in nautical miles between the two ships, right? So this dashed line that has the question mark. So what I'm going to do to start is I'm going to redraw the triangle, because what I can tell, so anytime I have a diagram, I look for if there are shapes involved, right? Because a diagram could be a table, could be a graph. But if there are shapes involved, I look for what is the shape, what's the main shape here that I care about? So what I know is that this is my center, and I have this point B that is 30 miles from the center, and this point A that is 20 miles from the center. And then the only thing, let me just erase this so we can clearly see what I'm going to do now. The only other information that was provided are these angles or these degrees. Let's see how that's valuable. So if from here to here is 170, but from here to here is 300, then that's a difference of 130 degrees, right? 300 minus 170 equals 130, which means this angle inside of the triangle, or my angle here, is 130 degrees. So that gives me a sense of the angle there. I don't know what these angles are here, but most likely won't need to know. So let's continue to read. So the next part of this question is that there's a note provided. Anytime this test provides a note, you're going to need to use it. I'd say never skip over it, no matter how complicated it looks. Just read it and see what you can use from it. So the note says for triangle ABC with side lengths A opposite of angle A. Okay, so I have an angle A here, which means this would be side A would be 30, right? So I'm relating everything that I read to my diagram. Side of length B opposite of angle B, so that means this is side B. And although it's not in the diagram, the note mentions this is triangle ABC, so I'm going to call this angle C, which means this would be side C, which is the part I'm trying to find. So side of length C is opposite of angle C. The law of cosine states that, and again, anytime I see a formula, I'm going to write it down. So C squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cosine of angle C. All right, so how can I use that given what I have? Well, C squared, well, that's the side that I'm trying to find, so I'm going to leave that as C squared equals A squared. Well, A is 30, so I'm going to call that 30 squared plus B squared. Well, B is 20, so I'm going to call that 20 squared minus 2 times A, so A was 30, times B, well, B was 20, cosine of angle C, but actually I know angle C, so let me get rid of this angle sign. I figured out what angle C was up here, right? So cosine of 130 degrees. So we pretty much have everything we need except for this C squared. The question just wants us to find the expression, so we're actually not even solving for C here. And we can see from all the answer choices that all these things are square root. So if I were to square root each side here, I'd end up with C equals the square root of, I would have 30 squared plus 20 squared minus 2 times 30 times 20 cosine of 130. I look at my answer choices, and I notice that all of my answer choices have 20 squared followed by 30 squared, and that's perfectly fine. But what that means is that in the answer, so I called A 30, but it looks like they're calling A 20, and they're calling B 30, which, again, I don't think really matters that much. So the answer choice that looks similar to what I have would be, so if I were to rearrange this, it would be the square root of 20 squared plus 30 squared minus 2 times 20 times 30, but still the cosine of 130, because that's definitely our degree measurement at the top. And it looks like that is answer choice B.